Everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Rose. If you are new to my channel, I usually post twice a month, if that, but my content is mostly about me being a teacher, along with fashion and makeup and pretty much just anything me. And so today I want to continue with part 2 of my teacher Q&A. But before I get into that, if you haven't already, please make sure that you like and that you subscribe to my channel. I want to get right into this video because there are a lot of questions that you all wrote, and I want to make sure that I get to as many of them as possible without making a 20-minute long video. So let's start with the first question. How do you cope with teacher stress and anxiety? This question's a really hard one because I'm not sure if I actually cope with it. I think teacher stress and anxiety just has its waves in my life. There are some weeks where I'm just like, I don't care, I'm not gonna let it faze me. And then there are other weeks where I am super stressed and I am really overwhelmed. And what I've just tried to do is stress about the things that I know I can control. There's so many things that admin may do. There's so many things that you may feel like you're behind on, whether it be grading or lesson planning or parent phone calls. I pretty much just stress about the things that I know I can control, because there's so many things about the job that are out of your control. And again, you can allow yourself to stress about it, and I definitely did that for way too many years, but it will take a toll on your health. Try to not let things affect me. Do I stress out? Yes. Do I get anxious about work? Absolutely. But I would say that I have just tried to focus on the things that I can actually control. And if I cannot control what I am stressing out about, then I have to just put it to the side and not let it affect me, because if not, you'll be stressed all the time, and it's just not healthy. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for the people that you live with. It's not healthy for your students and your body. And so definitely making sure that you're eating right and that you're also just not stressing about the things that you cannot control. Question number 2. How do you manage work/life balance? When I was in grad school, I don't think I was able to manage it. Because grad school, I was going, I think I had 2 courses a semester, which is technically full-time for grad school. And then I was also working full-time. And then I had also just gotten married 2 years after I had gotten my job. So I pretty much had all of these new experiences colliding at once. And so when I was in grad school, I did not balance it, and that's probably not like the most encouraging thing and what you guys want to hear, but I didn't know how to balance it all. I did it, but I don't think that it was in a healthy way. I had no life. My Saturdays were school and lesson planning. Sundays was school and lesson planning and laundry or groceries, like just all of the random things. I was also like very heavily involved in our church at the time, and so I was just doing too many things at once. But definitely once I graduated grad school, that changed the game for me, because I had so much free time and I didn't know what to do with it. And so I just tried to focus a lot on home. But for sure, my entire life, I guess if I could give a piece of advice, I am a scheduler. I definitely like to schedule my day. So I do know, like, by this day I'm doing this, by this day I'm doing that, by this time I want to do this. And so I definitely live my life by a schedule daily, so that I can fit in time to like do things with family, relaxation time. If I just like went with the flow, I would not be able to function. And so I definitely write things in into a planner and to-do list and all of those things, just so that I can have moments where I can kind of just like breathe and relax before the next wave of rush of just like everything hits me all at once. Number 3. How do you deal with being a young teacher? Again, if you're new, I started teaching at 22, so I pretty much went into teaching with that mindset of, okay, I have to act older than I am, and I'm not going to reveal how old I am. And because teaching at 22, I was teaching seniors that were 18 years old, I was just a couple of years older than them. I probably looked the same age. And so the first thing I did was I never revealed my age. I don't think I started telling the kids my age until I was about 25. But definitely I waited. My response was always just like, old enough to teach, old enough to teach you. So I definitely never revealed my age. Number two, I just made it a point to be mindful of my behavior, be mindful of my interactions, not touching the kids. Some teachers feel comfortable like touching on the shoulder or even giving like handshakes. Like I was so anti any of those physical touch moments at all. Like if you wanted to touch, we're gonna pound, or high five, but I never ever wanted to give anyone an opportunity to say something negative about me. And so I always made sure, like, you know, these are things that you should be doing anyway as a teacher, young or old, you know, but keeping the door open or having another staff member there if you're talking to a student one-on-one, just little things like that so that you can just keep yourself covered. And again, like minimal joking. If male students make comments about your physical appearance, like it is an awkward thing to deal with, but I don't say thank you. Like I don't want to be rude, but I don't accept the compliment. I'll just be like, all right, inappropriate, let's keep it moving. So it's almost like I call them out on it, like don't do it again. But I still do try to make it joking, but stern enough where they know like they can't do it again. And a lot of that is also the relationship that you build. And so if it were students that had just met first week of school, then I'd be a little bit more stern, like honestly, don't do that. But if it's like kids that you've built a relationship with, sometimes they do get comfortable and they try to like make comments on your physical appearance or, oh, nice outfit or whatever. So it really does depend. But oftentimes I'll just be like, we're not talking about that. Let's get back to the topic. And I just like deflect and I try not to even say thank you to a lot of the comments that they make. But that's pretty much it. I think just making sure you cover yourself, being mindful that you are young. And so you do have to carry yourself differently. You do have to keep a distance, like even the space with how close you're talking to the kids, like all of those things matter. And you may not think that it does, but they're kids and their idea of like physical cues may be completely different from yours, and you may think that what you're doing is 100% innocent, but they may take it differently. And so just making sure that you set that line, that you set that boundary. I use the word inappropriate all the time. That was inappropriate. That was inappropriate. Not okay. Don't do that again. Like just, you have to call it out because they have to know that they cannot get away with things like that, but they definitely will try, and then you just have to shut it down. So that's pretty much how I deal with being a young teacher. I do like to use it to my advantage as far as staying relevant and knowing the slang or what's cool music. So those are ways that I think being young can keep you relevant when it comes to the kids versus immature. There is a fine line between knowing what's in and knowing what's cool and then just being on their maturity level. So definitely find where that line is for you and then just like stay there. If looking for a new school, what are 3 things that I'd be looking for? This is really hard because schools, there's just so many different schools that are available. But one thing that I would definitely look for or definitely ask about are the systems and the structures that the school has in place. And it's like, yep, when this happens, this is how we respond. When this happens, this is the protocol. Every day at this time, this is what takes place. Like really ask about like the daily or weekly routine of the school, just so that you know what to expect. Things come up randomly and they pop up all the time. That's just the nature of teaching and working at a school. But definitely a school with strong systems and structure is one thing I would definitely look for. The second thing is, what are the strengths of the school? I would ask, what are your biggest strengths? Maybe the strength is the theater program, or maybe the athletics program or the art program. What exactly do they offer for the students outside of the classroom, outside of academics? I think that to me, that's really important. because it just shows how much the school cares about student life. Not just academics, even though academics is extremely important, but how much do they care about the student life as a whole? And so what are they offering after school, during school, lunch, clubs? And the last thing is asking about what their biggest weakness is as a school. And so this will give you a great idea as to possibly why teachers are leaving. They'll never tell you exactly the truth, right? Because it's an interview and the school wants to make themselves look good. But what is their biggest struggle as a school? It may be regent scores, or it may be parent involvement. But I would like to know, what does the school think is an issue for them, so that I have a better idea of what to look for when I am working at that school. Those are the three things. And then opposite of that, I would also look for a strong community of teachers. And so if you have an opportunity to meet other staff members, you really get a feel for how collaborative they are. If it's a friendly work environment, is there competition? Do people genuinely like want to help new teachers out? I think that that matters a lot too. Definitely feel the vibe out. How does the school secretary greet you? How does the person interviewing you greet you? Like, how is the vibe in the hallway? How are they interacting with the students during passing a bell? Like, you really want to look for all of those things. Does it seem like a positive school environment? And that will, at least for me, help me make the decision if I want to work there or not. Get a good feel of which schools you would like to work at while subbing. One thing I would definitely want to say is substitute teaching helped me a lot. Now, I'm not sure how it works in other states, but in New York, unless you are a permanent sub, you get called to different schools daily. And so you'll get the phone call from like the automated number, and then they will tell you like what school to report to and at what time. And you can definitely deny, which I did a lot, or you can accept. And so the problem is you can get called from any school in your location, or any school out of the boroughs that you selected. So for me, I clicked Queens and Brooklyn because that was just the easiest for me to get to when it came to public transportation. And there were a lot of schools that I declined at 5:30 in the morning, like Googling information about the schools, and then being like, too far, or not sure if I really want to go there. But what I did was I went to my old high school, and I spoke with the assistant principal there, and I pretty much worked out a deal where they would call me if they needed a sub. And so the school called me directly, even though I still had the automated system, but most of the time I declined that, and I just tried to work one-on-one with the high school that I used to go to. And so that one made me feel better. I tried to build a relationship with the school, and then also I just felt safer because I knew that I was going to a location that I was familiar with. So going to multiple schools is a benefit if you're trying to feel it out, but for me, I just felt more comfortable going to two specific schools that I had already had a relationship with. So that was my high school and my middle school. And so I went to both of those schools, and the secretary called me directly to report when I needed to sub. And so if you are just trying to get in the door and you're trying to sub, I would definitely say go to the high school that you used to go to, or the middle school, or the elementary school, and just share your story, share your experience. And again, I believe that more than likely they will decide to call you versus having random outside people report every other day. You build a relationship with them, they trust you, and then you're in the door with getting called multiple times, and then getting some stability in knowing where you're gonna report versus every day it being a different day and a different time. Okay, the last question. What were your best memories or most positive experiences as a teacher? I have two. Class of 2017, right? Last year was 2018, 2017. Okay, class of 2017 was by far my favorite experience as a teacher. I was finally coming into my own. I felt super confident with my content, and you find a groove. And so one experience that I had was we were going over like the legal system and the justice system in class, and pretty much just talking about like civil cases, criminal cases, and what's the process. And my student, it was for participation in government and them serving on a jury and what that process is like. And the kids were so fascinated by that entire unit that they were like, we should do like a mock trial. We should do a mock trial. And that's something that I had never done before with my kids. It just takes a lot of preparation, but the kids really wanted it. And I remember speaking to my co-teacher and I was like, I don't know, should we do this? Like, they seem really excited about it. She's like, have to do it because they want to, and so that's why it's gonna be great. So we ended up doing a mock trial and we planned the whole thing. It took weeks of preparation, finding things online. We did it on the Casey Anthony trial, which was so much fun. And so the kids did so much of their research. We had the laptops in the room. They gathered evidence, things that were brought up in the courtroom, things that were true, things that were not true. We went around the school and we had we selected jury members, and the kids were lawyers, and we had the stenographer, and we did the whole thing. And that for me was one of my favorite experiences because one, it wasn't an idea that I had, the kids had it. And that is so rewarding as a teacher because you know that you're doing something right, at least you hope that you're doing something right, because you sparked their interest to the point where they wanted to be a part of the development of the class. And because it wasn't a Regents course, I had the freedom to do that. And so that for me was one of my favorite experiences because of how seriously they took it. And it was even to the point where they were like, can we dress up? Like, can we come in suit and ties? And can you order like a judge outfit for the judge? And they wanted to go 100% all the way with this activity, and they did it. And it was so much fun to watch. It was just one of my favorite experiences because again, it wasn't my idea. I wasn't forcing them to do it. They came up with the idea and they ran with it, and they did an amazing job. And for me, that was one of my, hands down, my favorite experience as a teacher. But that's pretty much it. Those are all the questions that I was able to answer. This video is already so long, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. And again, if you are new, do not forget to like, subscribe, and also click the notification bell. This is a new thing. I don't really promote it, but just so that you are notified when I do upload videos, click that notification bell, and I will see you all in the next one.